Is this like the 90s you're saying, yeah?
Yeah. Why are you saying it like that?
No, because I'm like, Motorola, Telesales. I'm like trying to get a picture of the time, roughly. But no, honestly, thanks for coming on the pod. I know how busy you are. I know your time is very precious. I really appreciate that.
My pleasure. I'm a big fan of yours. You know, I said that to you.
No, you said that to me before. I'm a big fan of yourself in a sense of, I think when I got to meet you, I had heard of your name and I didn't know what you looked like.
Okay.
I don't like Googling people before I meet them.
Okay.
Like, if I have any important meeting or I'm just going to meet someone, I'm not going to be like, oh, that's the person.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I just like to have my imagination of like, oh, this is the person I'm going to meet. Like, I've got friends in common and people know each other, but I have no idea. I remember hearing of your name in a sense of, like, I'd seen the video first. That's the first ever time I was like, oh, I don't know who this man is, but he's done this deal. Okay. I'm not too sure about it. Where we have friends in common and how we met, I was very much like, oh, like, it's a brave step to go and put yourself out there. Do you know what I mean? Right. Considering the role that you're in, and I think it was very different in a sense for me, because most people that I see is in the world of entertainment, musicians, singers, even some people that are behind the camera that want to be more in front of the camera. Whereas this was the first time that I was like, oh, like, this is a man who's like a CEO in the boardroom. Like, I don't know any of these people unless they are on TV. Do you know what I mean? Like Alan Sugars or, I don't know, your Warren Buffetts or whatever. But you only know them because of like social media, if anything. It's an interesting path you took, because I never forget what you said when you said it was a hard decision for me to go public. I think once I got to know you and understand your journey and see like your humble beginnings was interesting, because you're from South, innit? You're from South London. And I think most of the time when I ever meet anyone who's like someone who's like in the boardroom and such, you're like, oh, bro, like you went uni and stuff like this, and how does it start? Whereas I know with you used to kick ball when you was young, right?
Yeah.
And you were very good as well.
I was okay. I managed to create a reputation for myself being a little bit better than I actually was, but I was all right. I was all right.
And your mum's an immigrant. Your mum's disabled as well, right? And you got brothers. 2 younger brothers. Yeah. So what was early life like for Dean growing up, who had the ambitions of being a footballer, but also got to look after mumsy? Do you know what I mean? And you got your brothers as well. How did that shape your upbringing in some ways? I mean,
it's funny. I always say, like, it wasn't until I was a well-formed adult that I really understood what my upbringing was like, because I had fun. Like, I grew up on an estate in South, like a lot of us did. And we were out playing football after school. We had play centre across the road, play centre or community centre across the road, table tennis and everything going on there. And yeah, as a fully formed adult, I look back and my mum would be like, okay, well, just get your brothers from school and take them home, and I'm not going to be home until 7. So you need to make them some cheese on toast. And then if you guys want to go out and play, you can do that, but be back by 6. So that was just like my life. Now as an adult with kids who are growing up in a very different situation, I understand the hardship. I understand how little money we had. I understand she wasn't back until 7 because she was working the second job. I understand that a 12-year-old having to pick up his, what would it have been, like 5 and 6-year-old brother and bring them home and make them something to eat. Those things aren't normal for everybody. Yeah. But when I was a kid living through it, it never felt like a burden. I really enjoyed how I grew up. And it definitely has shaped me, because it's hard to persecute me. Like, it's hard to make me feel like the world's a bad place and I'm really at a disadvantage and I've been hard done by, because I was actually at a disadvantage and hard done by. So, you know, in life as an adult, when a deal doesn't go my way, or the car I want to order is going to take 6 months long, it's like, like these aren't real things.
It's not a real problem.
These aren't real things, man.
Yeah. When you're are you the oldest amongst your brothers?
Yeah, I'm the oldest of the 3.
So being like almost like the head of the house in some ways, where, you know, you're looking after mum and you're the oldest and you're playing football, because I feel like when you play football, it has this weird place that you can be in where, like, I'm a team player and I play as a team, but I also do care about self in a way where like I want to make sure I had a good game. Where and I look, I've never played at that kind of level because you was at Palace and stuff, right?
Palace was a bit, yeah.
Because there's also a part where like I want a team to win, but you know that if you took a shot and hit the crossbar, you're like, oh, I would have liked that goal to go in there, man. Do you know what I mean?
Football was more, and again, it's like the retrospective view in it as an adult. It was an escape because I had a lot of responsibility in the house. Like my mum had a lot of responsibility too, but for a kid, I probably did more than what is normal for a child to do in terms of contributing to the house. But helpful because I also remember my mum would go, right, there's the money, do the shopping. Not like, here's the list or buy this and that. She go, do the shopping. It's a week shopping, so we need 7 dinners. And like as a 12 or 13-year-old, you had to go figure that out, right? So football became a semi-escape from all of the responsibility and all of the stuff that was going on in the house. There was some other stuff going on around the family which wasn't brilliant. So it was an escape. It was just an escape. Go somewhere, actually be a kid, right, in that environment. And I was good at it. So I was playing for the district, I was playing for the county, I was playing for a pro club. So it was a way to be, maybe not celebrated, but achieve, like see some achievement, be celebrated for being good at something, be known for being one of the best in the area or best in in London or best in the country. So it was more of an escape. And then suddenly at 15, 16, it became super serious. And my brain didn't catch up with it when it became super serious. I went into, I'm a footballer.
Yeah,
this is amazing. Like the girls are going to love this. All of my friends are footballers too. I'm one of that crowd. And the footballers we knew who were older than us had nice cars and nice watches. So it was only maybe 15 to 18. I was like, oh, this could be serious. But my view of it wasn't serious. I was too happy with wearing the Crystal Palace tracksuit and telling people I was a footballer.
Yeah.
I forgot to concentrate on being a footballer.
Yeah.
Like I missed that part.
It must be hard to concentrate because I feel like if you're a young boy and you are earning a bit of money through playing football and you live in like in a council estate, like it must be quite tricky because when you're the young boy who plays football and ends, you get a free pass in the sense of like, allow him in it, he's all right. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then there's also the part of you that is like, yeah, but I like some of those things that I see some of the bad boys that might have in the area, and and when I say the things that they have, it's those quick money things. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, Rob, you man got mopeds or you man got nice cars and nice trainers,
chops.
Yeah, and I remember being at an age where I'd see some of those boys in the estate, and they'd have, I remember this was a time when like mobile phones were coming out, and I'd always be like, oh, mum, like I really want like a Nokia, innit? A Nokia face off. And my mum got me this Vodafone make phone. Terrible, man. And it was just like, I don't want to get this out around the guys, man. Do you know what I mean? Because they're all like, oh yeah, let me make a ringtone and make ringtones, but
playing
also,
Snake. They're playing Snake.
Yeah, playing Snake 1 as well, where you couldn't go through the wall. Like, but seeing like that was quick money, and knowing that my mum was like, I've had to save up to buy you this phone, and I'm sorry it didn't come with a game. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Being at such a young age, when you're at like Palace and you're like 17 and stuff, and you're almost a bit of a leader at home, and then kind of like on the football pitch in some ways where you're playing with a group of people. Do you ever think any of those experiences transferred to making you the person that you are now in some ways?
What, home or football or both?
I guess like a mixture, because I always say like, sometimes you can grow up in an environment where it's like it's hard and you can't cry because there's no food at home. You're just like, there's just no food, and we just got to make what is like whatever's there. That's what we've got to make, essentially. Do you know what I mean? So once you get to a place of where you are now, where a deal might, this deal ain't happening, and everyone's distressed, and you're like, guys, listen, let's crack on, man.
Yeah.
Like, did some of those qualities kind of transfer to turning to the person that you are now in some ways?
100%. I think like some of the main ones are, right, one comes from my mum a lot, right? My mum, like you say, immigrant, disabled, black woman, single parent. She's had every disadvantage you could imagine. And I never saw her in a victim frame of mind. Like even now, she's never in a victim frame of mind. She's always, I'm just going to get up tomorrow and go and do that. I'm just going to go and do that tomorrow. She had such a, I'm just going to do that mindset. Right, and she's still like that today. Like the funniest story with my mum, this is a great representation of how my mum thinks, right? So my mum is pretty much wheelchair bound now. She refuses to live with anybody, right? She wants to live alone, wants to be independent. And she's telling me for ages she's flying to Canada to spend time with our family. And I'm going, well, who are you going with? She's like, I'm going on my own. Like, who's going to take you to the airport? Oh, I'll get an Uber. Like all of these things which physically this woman is incapable of doing. So we're fighting about this Canada trip because I'm like, if she does it on her own, it could be harmful to her health. She'd had like 4 strokes, 2 aneurysms. Like just traveling long haul to Canada on her own is out of the question. So we're fighting about this. And we're fighting the night before she goes. I'm going, listen, you can't go. How are you going to get to the airport? I'll call an Uber. How are you going to get your suitcases to the Uber? I'll figure it out. So I left her house at like, 8 p.m. the night before she's due to fly. And I'm so angry. And in my head, I'm going, I'm just going to let her go. Like she'll learn. She has to learn. I can't keep arguing with her. And then at 5 a.m. I get up, I get in my car, I go and pick her up. I get the bags in the car. I take her to the airport. I upgrade the seat. I make sure the people take her all the way through. And as they're pushing her through, and I'm waving her around, she turns around, she goes to the person like, stop a minute. And she turns around and she goes, see, I told you I'd get to the airport, right? so but this is just this is a complete, like, if I want to do it, like somehow the stars are going to align to do it. So when you grow up with this woman who insisted that we get A's, who always made sure we ate, who never went to the school to defend me if I did nonsense. She was always like, these are our standards. Despite having all of those disadvantages, you kind of don't know how to make excuses. Like you're just conditioned age 1 to 17 that we get up and do in this house. Like if we want something to happen, we go and do it. And not in the cliche sense people say now, like, come on, you can be anything you want to be. You've seen it, like you saw it every single day. So that is my mentality, and that comes from my mum. And I think secondly, growing up in the environment we did, family structure that we had, some dysfunction in and around the family that we had, no money, homeless twice. I've just beaten so many situations where the odds were against me or us. That even in situations where I feel like an underdog or I might be an underdog, it's a place I've spent so much of my life. I'm comfortable there, right? So if you come to the boardroom now where a lot of stuff might be with, people who had a better education than me, they might be older than me, they might be more experienced than me. So odds are infinitely against me in those situations. My advantage is I'm comfortable in the underdog situation. I'm comfortable with the odds against me. I'm comfortable in defeat because I've had so many of them. It's quite liberating. You know what I mean? Like this guy's got the pressure because he's been to Oxford. His company's bigger than mine. He's got the brand. He's got the accolades, and he's having to deal with me. I'm not supposed to win. So it perversely becomes liberating because I'm so comfortable in those underdog and difficult situations. So I'm grateful for it. Like people say, would you go back and change it? I say, are you kidding? Because the outcome would probably be less resilience and less tolerance, and I would have broken in some of the situations I've been in up until now.
I guess in terms of your job as well, like, because you haven't, like you're saying, you don't have the expertise of the background of some of the people that have gone to the elite schools, right. There must be something that's almost like when you do window, it must be like, come on, Bev, come on. Like, because I only say that because I've been in those positions myself, right. Where, I didn't go to drama school. I've done university. I went university and done performing arts, and I don't have no famous parents. I never had a bring-in. So, when you do get to go to these things, you're like, we're going to enjoy this, innit?
100%.
Let's assert ourselves and be professional. And there is those moments where you look around and you're like, there's nothing that could go wrong. Like I could get the lines wrong, but I'm here, innit? It's too late now.
Right, exactly.
So
it's exactly.
Yeah. I massively relate to that.
I think that's so important as well, though, because you get to a certain altitude, and I think you're a great example of this, that sometimes the success can distort the journey. Like you forget how far you had to travel to get to this point.
Yeah.
Like the very fact you're in the room or you're in this space is an unbelievable accomplishment, let alone getting the lines right, getting it perfect, selling out all the stadiums in your case. I mean, that's amazing. But you would have to speak for it yourself. To be in a conversation about selling out the O2, for the conversation to exist, just for it to exist and it be a real thing, like not a bunch of us sat in the bedroom at home going, that would be like, it's a real.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to get to happening and being a sellout and being a major success. This conversation exists. It should never exist.
Yeah.
It should never ever exist, but it does. And I think sometimes we can't forget the journey just to that point. The journey to being sat in the boardroom talking about selling this company for 250 million euros. Are you kidding? Like how on earth did you all let this guy in here to be having this? That's what I think. How did you allow this to happen? But I'm here now, so game time.
So then after because you've played football, but you didn't carry on playing football. You had an injury. Was it shin splints or something like this?
I had shin splints, but if I didn't have shin splints, we'd probably still be here having this conversation.
So do you feel like with football that you knew your ceiling? Does that make sense?
At the time I didn't. But looking back now, like, Rio was in my year. Clinton Morrison was a little bit younger than me. Like there's a list of players who were in and around me. And when I look at how they trained, how they played, how they lived their life, and how I lived mine, like it's clear to me why they had the success they had and I didn't. And ability-wise, I wasn't good enough to not try as hard as they did. Like they were better than me and tried harder. So the way it worked out for everybody football-wise, like makes sense to me.
How hard is it keeping up though with your friends who are footballers and making money? Because then they're also at a point, if you're saying that Rio Ferdinand's your friend and people like Clinton Morrison, and I know you've spoken about this before about, you going into a lot of debt and going to the clubs and everything else, but how almost dangerous is that when you're trying to keep up with people when you're not where you need to be in life? Because you got into a lot of debt, right? I was thinking like 80 grand or something like this.
88 grand of debt. I mean, it was super dangerous for me because, like I said, I came into that phase of football, which was full-time football, more obsessed with having an image of being a footballer than actually being a footballer.
Yeah.
So I started to chase the financial aspect of it because I had friends who were doing well at football and were buying nice things. And I was like, okay, there's a gap opening up where people are going to be able to see that I'm not really one of the footballers. So I started borrowing money to keep up with them. So that was very dangerous. My escape from it is very fortunate that, I came out of it quickly. I got a job. I started to earn. So I recovered quickly, thankfully. But I do think it's a dangerous and important thing. And I think it's a bit misunderstood that sometimes people look at like 17 and 18 and 19-year-old boys coming from working class environments, whatever colour they are. You got to 18 or 19 and started to buy, big cars and jewellery and clothes. You should be more responsible. And of course they should be more responsible. But again, what you miss is, I think especially for young men, like we grow up maybe 10 to 18 and every time we see a Mercedes at that age, we're like, one day I'm going to get that. Like every time we see a nice watch, for 8 years, maybe more, we go, when I'm there, that's what I'm going to. So we've been telling ourselves for 10 years that when the day comes, right, when that day comes.
When you're allowed to.
These are all of the things I'm going to go and get. So if you tell yourself that for 8-9 years with all of your friends, and then you sign your contract to Arsenal or you do your first music, like your first single goes nuts, what nonsense would it be to imagine that young man isn't going to get the check, get it at the bank and go straight to Hatton Garden
100%.
There's enough. You can't stop the person doing that. They've been dreaming of that for 8 years, 9 years. So the intervention has to happen sooner to try to discourage people from doing that, because if you let that fester for 8 years, what else is gonna what else gonna? And I had my moment of that. Even when I made money later, I still did it, and I was older than like 19. So what chances a 19 or 20-year-old kid got?
And I guess it's that thing where I think within our community, we are massively attracted by shiny things. It's those shiny things, and it starts off with, when I got my first check, it was like, I'm going into the Stone Island shop and I'm getting the tracksuit in every colour. I didn't need them, but I just wanted them.
Right.
Just to be the first that, like, if you see me on the street, you're like, oh, right, there's a mint green one. Oh, that's Mo. What are you saying, Mo? It's those things that, it's like you're saying, you wait until you can get them, and you finally get those things, and it takes you until you've spent all the money, and you're like, this is just
this was stupid.
This is just cloth. Do you know what I mean? Like, these are just crepes. Like, so for you, who
did you have that as well?
Oh
like,
yeah, definitely had that, 100%. I think for me, like, I'm a big fan of sharing. So my experiences felt like I had won, and I wanted my friends and my family to win with me.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And it was like, and I've said it a few times, of like getting that first big check of, you know, going into to buy the Stone Island tracksuit, going into shops and getting horrible treatment. Do you know what I mean? I remember going into one shop and I wanted to buy something, and I was like, oh, I want to get this one. I was like, yeah, cool. And then just walked off and just left me. And I couldn't believe it. And I was outraged. And it was this, for me, it was also this, no, I'm going to prove you wrong. So instead of, I didn't buy anything, but I just went into another shop where they would treat me nice and they would give me the champagne. And I was like, yeah, see, that's how you're meant to get treated.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah. When you realise it, you're like, yeah, I don't need to be in these shops. But also, I think it's what's behind the door. You know, and once you get that little, oh, that's behind the door, or hey, sir, would you like to come in the private room? And you're like, oh, there's a private room. I didn't even know that. It's all those things that make you get addicted to those things that make you then feel like, well, this is how I should live life. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's as much as it's important to, I think it's important to buy those things and realise you don't need them, but it's also important to have the people around you
100%.
that often question you, not say, why are you buying that? But sometimes I did need a friend to be like, rah, boy, man spending $6 in a G-Day. I wish I could, you know? And that's those moments where I say, let me put it back.
Maybe I shouldn't. Yeah.
Who is that for you that would say those things, or would be like, hey, listen, Dean, man, like, I know things ain't working well right now, and I know you're in a bit of debt and stuff. Who were those people that were around for you when you was that age?
I didn't have it then. That's how I got into the 90 grand of.
Oh wow!
So I got into the 90 grand of debt. I didn't really have the people at that point. When I came out of that, I kind of met my wife shortly after that, and we started kind of building life together. So things got a little bit more sensible on that journey. A little bit more. We still had extreme financial moments along the way. Now I always say it's like probably the number one reason, if not it's one of the most important reasons things are going as well for me now, and I'm as blessed as I am now. It is because of the circle of people around me, and that circle has changed a lot over the years. But that circle is exactly the the kind of centering mechanism that you just described, right? When I start veering, and I'm a strong-minded person and I kind of stay central most of the time, but I'm a person, so I have moments where I drift a little bit. It is that circle who are like, hold on a minute, like, we're seeing all the videos and da-da-da. It seems like you've been on the road for a little bit. Yeah, but when last time he's at home? I stopped in, I had Wednesday at home, it's Sunday today, like, you got kids in the family, what's happening? Like, people who hold you to account, people who you love and respect enough that when the call comes in, you're a bit receptive to it, because that's the counterbalance of being strong-minded, that you can dismiss easily. But when you love the person, you respect them, and you take the call, and you also know that challenge isn't coming through jealousy or through envy or through any it's easier to take. And I'm very fortunate in the circle around me. That's how these people are designed, and I get those calls. I still get them. I'm a big man now. I still get them, but they're probably, like I said, one of the most important things that keeps me progressing. And one of the most important things to me, that I have those people who can call me out like that.
Early on in your career, you done telesales, right? And when you done telesales, because I can relate to telesales in a way that how I done retail. Right. And I remember being in retail environments that some I absolutely loved, because the people I was around made me feel like, right, it's a bit of a family, and we're all sales assistants. Some people are older, some people are younger, but this is a nice, I like coming into work. Yes, it's a bit hard, but when you make your targets together, it felt like, we made our target. We get extra little £40 on top of our pay.
We're in the all-by-one celebrating.
Yeah. But I vividly remember the places I hated working in, like to the point where I would leave and I would just be like, just beside myself, in the sense of like, I hate this environment. I hate this manager. Yeah. And I would prove to myself, where I'm like, you know what? No, I'm going to go and sell this shirt. Watch me sell this shirt to this guy and get a big sale. Just so I could prove him wrong, in a sense of, I know you don't want me here. Yep. I know you can't stand me. I can't stand you. But watch me sell this without, he'd always say to me, I'll never forget this one manager. He'd always be like, he'd test me. He'd be like, Samo, what do you think of this coat? This is a lovely coat, man. What do you think of the material? Do you think it's nice? I'm like, it's lovely, man. It's like a nice cashmere mix. Do you know where that cashmere is from? I say, no, I don't even know, He goes, just not reading the manuals, are you? And I was like, this prick, you're testing me, man. I thought you were having a conversation. And I absolutely hated being there. I never forget the day that I left, because for me, it was just, I'd reached a point where I was like, I knew my worth. Do you know what I mean? What was that like for you in telesales, where you're doing a job that you hate, but you know your worth and how good you can be, I
don't know if the worth thing came into it, right? And the hard thing with telesales, and I've said this before, it was like, I can't remember the exact days, but maybe on Wednesday I trained as a footballer, like 10 until 12, bit of table tennis afterwards, bit of lunch down the road, laughing. Like 10 until 4, you're just laughing or playing football. That's how life as a footballer worked. And say that was on Wednesday. Then by Friday, I was doing my first job in telesales. So there was no induction or soft landing. It was like, there's the phone. You call from this list. Here's the script. 80 outbound calls today. You need to book X number of appointments. I went from that environment to that one with a manager whose management style was like to shout at people, or like to rip, and then there's the phones plugged in, so like if people did nonsense, he would like rip the phone out and throw it on the floor and so, I've told, you're an idiot, like you'll never get it, you might as well leave now. Like that's how we spoke to people. So it couldn't have been a higher contrast environment. Yeah. And I've said often, man, it was now people would reflect on it as like mental health break. Like I was super low, like crying in the toilets. I was like going to the toilets at 3:00 and be like, I'm going to stay in there for half an hour. And then you look at your watch, you think you've been in there for 20 minutes, you look at it's 3:03, like you've been in the toilet for 3 minutes. Yeah. So it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. But I also remember the moment at Motorola doing telesales where I was like, which guy do I want to be? Like, do I want to be the person who came here, who failed as a footballer, came here, couldn't even do telesales? So where is the next place? Like, if we follow this trajectory downwards, like, where's the next place? Do you want to be that guy? Or do you want everybody here to have to, like, respect you? And I remember that conscious thing in my head going, I'm leaving here, but I'm leaving when all of you respect me and you see that I could do this job if I wanted to. It's just that I didn't want to do it. So I went on a bit of a rampage of, I'm getting out of here as soon as I can. And that moment will be the moment after I've proven beyond a shadow of that to anybody here that I can do this job. And then I became good at it. I just put my mind to it, sales, and I became good at it. And I got promoted twice, and then I could leave with my pride intact. But it was a very low 9 months.
When you left, did they want you to stay? Because if you've been promoted twice, you're like, we don't want to leave. We don't need to leave.
I took the phone unplugger as job, like off of him. Like he moved on and I took that job. But I didn't have any interest in it, and I went and took another sales job somewhere else, which was really helpful.
And do you feel like that really is your start of doing the job that you hate, to then being like, I'm going to be so good at this, I'm going to leave to now do a job that I like doing? Because a lot of people don't get that luxury of being in a job that they hate, and then to the point where like, I'm so good at it, I'm going to leave and now find my in and my job, you know.
It comes back a bit to the resilience thing, because in my mind, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, I'm fine, because I've just decided now I'm staying here. I'm determining how long I'm going to stay here. I've determined what will allow me to leave. So I'm taking control of this situation, and all I have to do to leave this job that I don't like is become so good at it. That's the only thing I have to do. So it's definitely a way my brain works. This situation I'm in that I don't like, I'm going to take full control of it and full accountability for it. It's nothing to do with Motorola. It's not Crystal Palace's fault for releasing me. It's not the guy's fault, Saji Burton, who took my place in the team. I just need to get myself out of it. And from that moment, it became a lot easier.
So what year is this? What year are we talking? Because you mentioned Motorola, innit? And I'm like, yeah, that must... is this like the 90s you're saying, yeah?
Yeah. Why are you saying like that?
No, because I'm like, Motorola, Telesales. I'm like, trying to get a picture of the time, roughly.
That would have been 98.
98?
98, 99.
That's crazy. I just left primary school, you know.
What are you doing there? What's happening there?
I just left primary school. I just went into secondary school. So at this time, because the only reason why I asked at the time, because I feel like the 90s going into the 2000s, where I always like to judge culture by what's also happening around in culture. So whether it's music at the time, and, you know, it goes into that kind of, into the 2000s, which is, you know, the turn of the millennium. And, you know, you've got the Millennium Dome, and they're talking about, you know, Labour government and all this kind of stuff.
Most talking about it like they invented the computer. And
no, but I just think, do you know what it is? I think
and the combustion engine.
I know that you're an entrepreneur, but in your field is tech as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, because you've been so successful in this field, it's almost like now we're at a point where we're like, oh, AI, where's that going? We know what's going on, but we don't. But then you've got this, and I feel like that turn of the millennium really felt like you blinked and you're like, oh, right, now we got phones that are colour. Now, do you know what I mean? Now we got a phone with a camera, and I'm only linking that to just what I can remember at that time. But I don't know what the reason why I don't know what the boardroom is like in this time, because I know that you went to another company right at this time, and wasn't there something about you wanting equity and they didn't give you the equity?
Yeah, like at that time and that moment in my career, it wasn't like, okay, I'm planning out this career and I'm going to make this move, that move, and that move. I made the jump from Motorola to a startup. There was 4 people. There was 3 people, and I was the 4th person. And long story short, that company was getting sold to Vodafone a little while after that. And I thought, because I was one of the first 4 people there, that I had equity in the company, because that's the way the managing director always talked about it. It's the 4 of us, we've been pushing this, we've been driving it. So I thought I had 25% of the company when it got sold to Vodafone. And I learned that I didn't the hard way, but that tuned my mind into this whole equity thing. So when I went to the next company, which was an American software company that wanted to grow in Europe and Asia, I negotiated equity, even though I didn't really understand really what equity meant. I just knew at the last place, these guys were selling for 40 million, and the 40 million was being divided among the people who had equity. And that, I felt like I missed out on that. So when I went to the next place, I was very tuned into these magic beans called equity. I didn't know really what it meant, but I got equity. Like, I negotiated it, I got it. And as time progressed, I was young, I was unmarried, I didn't have kids. So I was able to travel Europe and Asia and build this company. So I would go to Germany and I'd stay there for 6 weeks and hire people and find an office. Then I'd go to Dubai and do the same. Then I go to Paris, and so I was able to go and spend time and really build this company. And over the 9 years I was doing that job, I would always negotiate for more equity because it was going so well.
Yeah.
And my part of the business became the same size as the rest of the business in the US. So it grew much faster than the headquarters, much faster than the US business. So I created a lot of value in that, and I ended up with a reasonable portion of equity. And then that company got sold to Oracle for $550 million. And by that point, I had a meaningful chunk of equity. And two things happened. That financially changed mine and my family's life when that happened. But also in my field, when you're a exec or CEO of a company that's successfully grown and been acquired with a outside investor, it's a bit like I don't know, it's a bit like a medal for you to have. Like if you're an exec in tech with private equity sponsors and you can exit successfully like that, it's like being an athlete that's got a medal at an Olympics, right? You're an athlete, you compete nationally, you compete regionally, then you go to the Olympics, then you get a medal. It's like, okay, there's only a small group who get that crown of building something and exiting it. And I'd done that, and I was 27 at the time. So the calls start coming in from other investors saying, hey, we're going to buy this company, or we're already in that one. Do you want to come in? So it just opened up the universe of opportunity for me. And it was that gateway that let me do that.
When you're in this job and you're going to these places like Germany and Dubai and working with American companies, and you got friends that are from South London and stuff, how are you translating that to your friends? Because you were saying before where, you know, like your friends are the people that are going to pull you up and you have your community and stuff. But, you know, I've got friends that have jobs and they say things and I'm like, I don't even know what that's about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, you know, if I've got a friend who says to me, oh, you know, I work on the trains, I'm like, I kind of feel like I know what that job is. And like, how is work? And I could imagine, I've seen this in the news and blah, blah. Whereas, you know, like with your community and where you're from, you know, when you're able to come back home with your friends or go out for a drink or whatever, are you still being able to detach from work and social life? Because I feel like you're in a field where if you're in that field, you know what's going on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas if I said to my friends, I'm like, yeah, you know, I just bought some shares in this, and they're like, yeah, all right, cool, bro. We got your thing still. Yeah.
Sounds good for you. Earlier, Mo, I think that friendship circle when I was a bit younger, you know, didn't understand it, fair enough. But there was this thing about still being the same person, and I found that hard, and that's why the circle had to change, because it was like I'd go set up this office or acquire this company, you know, be in my corporate world, and then I'd come back home and there'd be this expectation that we'd pick up right where we left off, right? So you go doing this corporate stuff, doing this amazing, you know, these amazing business deals, building this company, then you come home and they're like, okay, we're going to go to these 5 nightclubs on Saturday and get home at, you know, 1 p.m. on a Sunday.
This is the West End boom days, isn't it?
This is the West
Studio
End.
Varbon. I know you was in these clubs, bruv. China Whites and that.
China Whites before it was... So, and there was that expectation, and you're like, well, I get to work on Monday, and I don't know if I really want to be doing this. And that caused friction in those relationships. Not even because I think those people were truly obsessed with raving. I think it was more, they were like, no, don't, you can't change, or not. Like, don't be some different person when you come back. And now my circle is, I mean, they're not experts on tech or private equity, but we're all similarly minded. Like, we all think about the same things, we all look at progress in the same way, think about family in the same way.
Yeah.
So that makes it easier. You know, do I come back and talk about the EBITDA on this transaction versus the debt ratio that we can get from the banks, and how leveraged I am, which are things people in my world understand? Well, no. But do I talk about where I want the company to be next year and why that's important? Yeah, the same as they talk about what they're doing. And do you know what I mean? So we've got kind of a common ground, which is progression, values, less than specifics.
Yeah. When you're selling a company for, let's say, 500 million, how long does a deal like that take? Like, what goes into that in terms of, is that being with your family at times, or your family and you have your children when they're a bit younger, and you're like, listen, I love to take you to the park, but it's Sunday and I have to do this thing. Does it ever stop, or is it a 9 to 5 for your case?
At this point in my career, I've got more control over that. But major transactions probably take a year.
Okay.
It will be 6 months to a year really to get done. And the last 8 weeks of that are 24-hour days, like on a meaningful transaction. So like the €1 billion transaction that we did, you're getting into, last 6 weeks, you're into 20-hour days. Things are just going, right the way around the clock. So all of the rest of life just has to go on pause while you're working on that. When I'm acquiring stuff, if I'm selling, it's normally like that. If I'm acquiring something, I can normally, dictate the pace of it and get other people involved.
Yeah.
But if it's big and meaningful to me, I'm in the middle of it, like I'm the leader of it. Do
you ever feel like you missed out on a lot when you're trying to get these deals over the line, where you're trying to have the perfect mix of balance, where the only reason why I asked, I remember when I was single and I lived by myself and I could do any show, anytime, any place, anywhere. And I would do something in LA and I'm on TV here. And at that specific time, I was on every channel in the UK, probably bar one, maybe like Channel 5. But I didn't feel like I had anything to show for it. I would come home at the end of the day and the house is empty. The house is cold, the heating ain't on because I've got to put the heating on. At times I'd sleep on the sofa because my bed would feel so empty. Do you know what I mean? And yes, I had friends, I had family around, but I chased work so much that I was like, I don't like this feeling, man. And it was only until I got really ill that I was like, okay, this is very, very lonely.
Okay.
What was that like for you when you're kind of having to chase little settlements to chase, but you're trying to close a deal that's a year and you are so work driven and you have family life, especially at the early days. I guess now where you're almost like you're saying, like you're your own boss, you can dictate how it works. And I guess there must be people like, well, let's wait on Dean, man. Let's give him that week off because we know what he can do. Yeah. Whereas this was probably at a stage where people didn't. So how was you able to juggle family life and work life when you've got, a deal that you're trying to close that's worth 500 million?
I'm very lucky because me and Daniel did this as partners, right? We were very intentional with it. If I look at the job, that first job I talked about where we sold for 550, I was in a global role by the end of that. And I'd spend a minimum of 2 weeks, probably closer to 3 weeks of every 4 weeks, traveling on the road, around the world. But that partnership was so important because we would sit down and go, okay, I've been offered this promotion. It's a global role. They're saying it's 2 weeks, a month on the road, probably going to be free. We had 3 kids under 2, right? So they're all very close in age. And we'd sit down and talk about it, like, can we manage this? Okay, we need a nanny. We need a night nanny. Can we afford that? Yeah, we can. Okay, what is this going to mean for us? What is this going to mean for my relationship with the kids? Okay, that means when you're back in that week, you have to really be present and we have to do these things and make sure we do the swimming and we do the zoo and we're going to do it all in that week. So we were super intentional about it. And throughout my career, at every big choice I've made, every big job I've taken, we do that. We sit together and go, right, what does this mean? And are we okay with it? And over 27 years since I've met her, there's only been one moment where I was like, I want to do this with my career, and she was like, all right, I don't think we can do that. Like, I think that's going to be too much for us to do that. And that was moving the entire family a long way away from where we lived. And the family were very young, so she was saying, I'm going to be away from your mum, my mum, the complete support network, and the best you'll be able to do is hire a network of strangers around us, and I don't want to raise our kids a long way away from their family with strangers. I'm happy for you not to be there. Happy I can live with you not being around, but then they got to grow up with their grandparents, their aunts and their cousins, but they can't sacrifice that and not be. So that was the one time in 27 years. but I know myself, and she knows me, and I'm driven, I'm ambitious, I always want to achieve the next thing. Can we do this bigger? Can we do this better? So it would have been stifling for me as a person, like for anybody in my life, including her, to go, well, I need a better balance. You know, you need to be 50% home with the kids. That's what I need from you. Like that would have ended the relationship, because I'm not designed to be that way. I'm happy working. I get fulfillment from working. I get endorsement from working. So I want to do that. So it's best for everybody.
Yeah,
Best for everybody if you let me recreate a situation where I can do that. I look back now and I think time will tell. My kids are 17 and 18. You know, I'm waiting for one of them to say, "Oh, you were never around." I said, "Well, it's funny because you're saying that on your Bluetooth in your brand new car." So it seems like, and I'm not saying material things replace presence, but they've certainly, well, I would like to think that there's a lot of good that has come from how I've spent my time. Time will tell, and the kids will determine if I made the right choice, and not for me to say that. Like, they will say when they get to 25, 26, you know what, we're grateful for the choices you make. They may say, we would have preferred for you to be more present. I don't know. I don't think I get to make that choice.
Do you fear that in some ways, though, your children saying that?
Of course, yeah. Every parent is trying to make the best choices, the best balancing, the best sacrifices, and thinks they're making the best choice for their kid. But what I've observed is it's not really until the kid gets to like 26, 28, fully formed adult, couple of relationships themselves, few jobs, like they understand the context in which you made the choices that you made. When I had kids, it improved my relationship with my parents, especially my mum. I was like, oh, you weren't a raving lunatic. You were just trying to protect us. Like you were so... That behaviour of yours, which I viewed as abrasive and aggressive, I now understand as protective. I'm a parent now. But I had to become a parent to appreciate that. So I definitely fear it. Of course I'm scared of it. But it's their choice. It'll be they'll determine it. Don't you worry about it. I mean, you're working a lot now, you're on the road a lot, you've got kids.
That's why I ask about I guess the sacrifice, because I think the minute I started to, do television and touring, and what I sacrifice of very similar, being on the road for months at a time, you sacrifice not being around my immediate family, being my mum, my sister, and then feeling like, oh, you don't really phone us. And I'm like, well, I'm 8 hours away. I can only really phone you in the morning if I can. Right. But even then, I've got to go to meetings and stuff. And I think the sacrifice that you will make for your career is really where people around you can then start enjoying the fruits of your labour. But I think the sacrifice can also come across as like, well, you're being a bit selfish because... And I'm like, I hear that, but listen, I won't be able to get to that stage for you to enjoy those fruits of my labour, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it makes it makes a lot of sense, but it also, I think the family and friends have to understand you as a person as well, right? Like, look at all of the talent that you have, look at all the brilliance that you have, and you want to share that and give that to the world. That takes time, and because we love you, we want the world to see that. So for the world to see that, you have to get on planes and you have to go to other places, right? So because we know you and we love you, we should want that to happen, right? You're not flying around the world partying, and you're not away from home like doing nonsense. You're applying that God-given talent and skill in a meaningful, huge platform way. We want that for you. But there's a cost of that. The cost of that is you have to be away. And I think what you said is the important thing, that okay, we've supported you in doing that. What does it mean for you? And can it mean something for us? Yeah. And if it can, that's a beautiful thing, ain't it?
Yeah. You're in a place now in your career where, you are brokering deals of £1 billion, and you're in a place now where, and I remember you saying this where, and I'm going back to what I was saying earlier in speaking to you, where you was like, you know, me going public of what this means for me and my family and everything else that comes with it. And also people asking for things, because I guess when you broker, some people are just hearing $1 billion. They're not understanding. You're like, oh, he's brokered the deal. Oh, okay, I get that. All right. And there's some people that will be like, all right, I just brokered it though. It's not his deal, is it? But then like you're gonna get the kind of naivety that comes with that. But you're also gonna get this, oh, who's this? I need to know who this person is. What lengths have you found people have gone to now that you're in this kind of spotlight now? And it's like I don't know what it's like in your DMs. I don't know if I closed my DMs years ago because I was like, and I only use it, and the reason why, one, for me, it was just more my mental health, the toll. Focus, because there's some people that say some really nice things, which is really nice to hear. Then there's some people who say some really nasty things. And you're like, right, why would you write that at 3 a.m? Are you all right? Like,
what did I do to you?
Yeah, I didn't do nothing to you, man. You. But also, I think the reason why I turned off, because I couldn't just be like, well, I just want to read all the praise. Let me go through this and read all the praise. Yeah. But then also, let me then go through it and read the negative. I just said, look, I'd rather just not have anything. So for you going public and brokering a deal that is £1 billion, how did that start to change your life? Because now there is a face to this. It's not just a headline in, I don't know, the business newspaper or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Now you're a face of it, and you're also someone where people are like, right, like, this is a brother from the end still. right, like, I thought, man, Dean, you know, I know a Dean, you know, I swear I used to kick ball with my man still. So like, how was that for you and your family?
It's everything. Like it's a bit of everything. First of all, I cannot explain enough to people that I'm the CEO of these companies, right? And as part of being the CEO, I'm given some equity. I'm given some shares in the company. More recently, I've invested my own money into that company too, right? So I might be given 5% because that's normal for a CEO to be given some shares, and then I might buy another 5 or 10% of the company. So that's how I might end up owning 10 or 15% of the company I'm CEO of. And then my job is to build those companies to the point that they get acquired. And if they get acquired for £100, then I make 15 of that. And there's other elements that can affect that 15, but generally that's how it works. So yeah, of course you get people going, because I did one exit which was $1 billion, and the others totaled $1 billion. So it's $2 billion in exits, and we started to let that be in the press. And then yeah, of course, it's everything from your family. You know, your family in Jamaica ring you and they go, oh, you know, I heard you got the $2 billion now. So
did this happen?
Yeah, of course it happened. There was I was telling a story the other day about my uncle who I hadn't spoken to for years. He calls me from Jamaica and he says, you know, I've got a business plan I want to run by you, but I'm not ready to run it by you yet. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm thinking, you know, he wants a little coffee shop or something like, you know, I'm trying to connect what he could possibly want with the person I know he is and what his reach at a stretch might be. And long story short, we get on the phone, he's like, yeah, the AstroTurf thing, I want to put some AstroTurf pitches down, the kids need somewhere to play, costed it all out, I'm going to need £9 million. And from here, it's only downside for me, because all I can be from this moment on is the person who could give him £9 million and didn't. That's the only thing I can be. Like nobody in his household or the neighbouring households is going to rationalise that the guy with $2 billion wouldn't even give his uncle a measly £9 million. Nobody's going to go that this not to be disrespectful, but £9,000 might be like on the edge of his financial like level of But so I'm having that conversation. I think I was in my car once one of my favourite stories. I was driving home. I was having a dinner at home with some business friends of mine, and I was going to be late. There was a lot of traffic, and I was driving through Brixton. I said to the driver, "All right, look, I'm going to jump out. I get the train straight to Seven Oaks. I'll be home in 30 minutes. So I'm going to jump out." So I got out of the car in traffic in Brixton. And as I got out of the car, it's coming, Dean, I've been sending you my business plan. And I started jogging to the station because I had to catch my train. And this guy was running alongside me.
Oh, swear.
The first part chastising me because I didn't get back to him on the business plan that he sent me. And then the second part of the jog, like doing the pitch of what the business plan was. And then we're stood on the platform at Brixton Station and he's going to me, "So what do you think? Are you going to go for it or not?" And I was just thinking, what do you want from me? I'm just trying to get...
trying to go home.
I'm trying to get home. So some of those elements are like funny mo. The part that is less funny is, of course, as you'll know, with publicity comes scrutiny. And I always say to like my family and my team, don't get... Everywhere we go, all we hear is applause, right? Which is nice. You know, we go places where we're always well received. People are always positive. You know, every time I've met you, you've always been like so positive and so warm towards me. And that's generally my experience with people. But we can't forget that people are still people. So even though where we go, we're hearing applause, it doesn't mean everybody's clapping.
Yeah. And
from time to time, that energy does seep through the net. And then I do sit down a little bit like you and I think, like, why do this? Like, it makes me come back to the purpose of doing it, which it is for genuine reasons. It is with authenticity that I think it's a good thing. But when that energy seeps through a little bit, I kind of think, what? I get angry with the person going, "Don't you realise I don't even need to be doing this?" Do you know? Like, I'm not an entertainer. I'm not a sports person. Because in those careers, popularity is currency. In my world, popularity maybe among my employee community is helpful. Beyond that, I don't make a pound for being known okay, yeah, have I been paid for stuff because I'm now popular? Yes. Is it money that is meaningful to me? Not to diminish that at all, right? But it doesn't compare at all to what I can make from going to work, doing my 9 to 5, dealing with my customers, dealing with my employees, and going home and nobody. So it used to bother me a little bit that smoke would come, because my reaction would always be, "Bro, shut up! I don't even need to. I don't even need to be here." Now I just kind of accept it a little bit as, look, come on, Dean, man, you made the choice. You knew what you were doing when you made the choice. You stepped out. You could have stopped this at any moment, so you don't get to complain about it. Now it's kind of par for the course. But you would be more experienced with it than I would, because it's probably more part of your daily world than it is mine. Yeah,
I think for my world, it's, you get invited to whatever the thing is, and you're like, "Oh, I would just like to go." My curiosity has led me to be like, I would like to go to Wimbledon. Wimbledon, I've never been before. Let's go. Do you know what I mean? And then you get the call the next year and the next year. But that's also due to how much you're working, because if you're not working, then they're not going to invite you, because that's how it works. They're like, "Oh, we had this person here or that person here," which I guess is also quite a nice position for someone like yourself to be in, where you can one day just kind of choose to just check out if you wanted to, where you're like, going to probably not do some of the podcasts and not have such a front face of putting my name to things, because I guess the position you're in is, it's your name. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've set up the Forbes Family Group. You're helping represented entrepreneurs and young people through mentoring. And I remember you invited me to your dinner. Was that your office? That place?
No, it was my house.
No, in London Bridge.
Oh, the Shard. No, that's not my office. That's my investment banker's office.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Because I remember when we got there, man. Because I've been to the Shard and gone to the restaurants, but that's a different door, you know. I said, all right, I've never been through this door, you know. Excuse me, sir, who's here to sit? We're here for are you here for the event? Okay, all right, cool, real cool. So what made you also step into that place? Because now you're in a position where you want to help people, and it can be very easy for you to say, well, you know, this is what I do. I need to earn money for my family, and you know, get to another level that you already want to get to. You know, what was it about making the Forbes Family Group so beneficial for yourself? Because you speak about it a lot. You know, it's very front face, and it's not just like, oh, we got this thing happening, and why is that so important?
Let me tell you how that started, right? So I went to, I think it was Downing Street. I went to Downing Street to meet Boris Johnson, like a small group of us went to meet Boris Johnson. And I was so excited about this meeting. I was like, right, I did my research. I know how much he's defunded community centres. I know how much he's taken out of youth schemes. Wait till I meet this guy, right? So he comes, I meet him, and I'm ready. I'm like, you know, you want to deal with antisocial behaviour, you need to put money back into communities, you've taken this many billions out of community centres over time, it's a disgrace, you know, you need to do better. And so I'm berating Boris Johnson, and then his team kind of realise that this angry black guy is just like hammering him, so they kind of move him away. And I felt
and you're doing this in Downing Street?
I'm doing it in Downing Street. I'm doing it in Downing Street. And so they take him away, and I kind of felt really good with myself. I was like, yeah, you know, you've really told him, and you've really let him have it, and you've represented the community by like not coming there and shaking his hand and selling out. I felt so good. Then about 15 minutes later, on his own, and by the way, in the session, like, he was completely chaperoned at every point. He came back on his own, and he was like, yeah, Dean, really good to meet you. I've heard a lot about you, and you've done quite well for yourself, haven't you? I was like, yeah. So, you know, you've done a lot of these exits, and you're always an equity holder. I was like, yeah, exactly. That's right. So he said, yeah, and I listened to everything you said, and I was just wondering, what have you done for these communities? Because I know you really care about them. And I was like, oh, no.
Checkmate.
Yeah. Checkmate. So now I'm like bumbling to him like he normally does to other people. And it just sat with me, Mo. Like, when I left, it actually like really, like, it burnt me, A, that he checkmated me in that way, and B, I was like, he's actually got a point. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm in a position to do more than I'm doing, and I ought to. And that's what started Forbes Family Group. I was like, we need to build something that is a little bit sustainable, that can do work at scale. And my guiding premise was, I've learned so much, I've got such a big network, and I'm able to, I should put all of that to some use for others. And I'm not saying it like cures poverty in the UK or solves hunger or anything like that, but it is doing some good work for some group of people, you know, in a meaningful way. So I am proud of it in that sense. And also using it as a platform to call out others to do their bit too. You have to do your... You've got to be
making sure you're doing yours before
you can't be pointing at people saying, well, like he did to me, well, what have you done? And I got nothing. So I'm trying to make sure my foundation is there, and then we can engage with others.
And what is the stuff that you... Because I know the stuff because I remember going to the dinner, but for anyone listening, what are some of those things? Because I know you work with young entrepreneurs as well. You know, and disadvantaged people in different areas. What are some of those things that you're trying to make an impact with, that people, not so much people can see, but they can be like, oh wow, like, I'm really interested in this, and I'd like to get maybe involved, or how they can help, or, you know, and even have an idea and just be able to pitch. Because I could imagine you're someone whose time is so precious, you must get people being like, I've got the next best thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, Forbes Family Group, I've heard about it. Listen, I'm a young entrepreneur.
I'm chasing you through Brixton with my. So we focus on the 3 C's. We say it's capital, it's community, and it's connection. So capital is about us investing in young entrepreneurs and businesses, typically underrepresented founders, because they get less than 1% of investment capital that's available. So we invest our own money, and we bring other people to the table to invest in those businesses as well. Connection is the other, because I've benefited from just building an amazing network of people. Like, there's most prominent people in the country, I'm 1 or 2 phone calls away from. So it's about kind of bringing that network to be of use to others in different structured ways, whether that's networking events, whether that's professional development competitions, whether that's mentorship. We try and bring a network of people around people who are trying to get to the next level in their career. And then community is really charity. So we pick 2 charities a year that we want to support, we give money to those charities, but we do a bunch of initiatives to raise money for those charities. And we were together at Power to Fight, which was one of our partners that we worked with to try and raise money. So it's capital, community, and connections.
Because I know you do some after-school programs as well.
Yeah, we opened a bunch of after-school clubs because I loved those when I was younger.
And I know you've done some stuff with the ACLT as well.
Yeah, that was one of our charity partners. Had a big gala for them, raised nearly £500,000 to help. That's the kind of stuff we love. We loved it, and that's a good example where we're able to get the network. Like, we didn't raise that on our own. We had sponsored run clubs. We had sponsored wellness retreats. We had a lot of great celebrities come out and support us in fundraising. So it's about bringing that phone book, putting that phone book to good use.
And you must have such an interesting phone book now, because you're in a space where, you was ranked #1 as the most influential Black Briton, which, on the power list, which, again, I don't know much about this list. And I'll be honest, when you was on it, I was like, oh, right, Dean's on it. I know Dean. Yeah. There was a few other people that I knew on there, but they're people that are in places of business that for someone like myself, I don't know of these people. But, with you being on that list, and then, I feel like you're in an interesting space, whether, you're in the boardroom speaking to people of business, but then you can be on, GRM Daily or Link Up TV, and, they put your clip up there. So you have this really interesting position of a lot of young people that don't understand business, but you are their entry point. And then you're also the person where you're like, the people you must have in your phone book are like, oh, like, you could make a change to this thing. Would you like to come to this event? And you've got people in a room who would never cross paths. It's a really unique position that you've been able to put yourself in. So what must that have been like, being the #1? Did it feel like pressure? Did you know about it?
Well, I was #2 the 2 years before, so I was a mix of like happy but annoyed being #2, like the #1, #2 2 years in a row. It was an amazing thing, because I know a lot of people on the list. I've looked up to a lot of people on that list. A lot of people on the list have helped me. So it was an incredible feeling to be like named #1 on that list. But what you said about my phone book is something I'm quite proud of. And it comes back to being more known and more public, because the intention of that was to, I guess, expose to people, in some meaningful way, try to expose to people that when we think about achieving on the corporate lane, when we're entertainers, often we can retain who we really are. Like, we can build a career around who we really are. And your authenticity as an entertainer is something I absolutely love. As a sports person, we can often retain that too, because as long as we're scoring the goals or knocking the opponent out, we can listen to what music we like, we can dress the way. But in the corporate world, it's generally understood that you're going to have to conform to the rules of HSBC or Morgan Stanley or Google in order to become successful. So when becoming more public, one of the things I wanted to try to show was that I did manage to navigate to this point without giving up my soul. Like, I didn't have to sell my soul to get to this point. It's true along the way I made adjustments. It's true along the way I had to be a little quieter or, put a tie on when maybe I wouldn't have wanted to put a tie on. That's true. But I did get to this place, and I haven't sold my soul, and I do listen to the music I listen to. I do eat the food that I eat. I do have the friends. I do socialise in the way that and I'm still credible in the corporate world. And that's how the phone book's been built, right? That's how the phone book's been built, because I haven't had to put down some of my friends that I've grown up with, and I've made new friends who are running some of the biggest companies and biggest brands in the country and in the world. And I'd like to think for some of those people, I've educated them on what South London people are. They don't need to fear us. And we're all right. And, I was on a corporate call yesterday. We're trying to acquire a business, quite a big company we're trying to acquire. And the person we need to get to said, I'll have dinner with Dean because he seems like the kind of guy I would like to know and I would like my friends to know that I know. Right? So I'm going to get this meeting because this guy thinks I'm cool, and he definitely thinks I'm cool on this side. He doesn't think I'm corporate cool. He thinks I'm cool because I know you and because I know Idris. That's why he really wants to. So it's helpful.
Does that play a big part in your world? Because I guess when it's like, one, it's tech and the whole CEO type business thing. Cool is, I feel like, a currency that you just can't buy. You can wear the best clothes and get the best tailors or whatever it is, but if you don't feel like, okay, cool, I've got this suit on, and yes, it's Oswald, but yeah, when you see it, you see me, and then you see the suit second, if that makes sense. How important is cool in your world? Because I think you're a very cool person.
Thank you.
When we was in LA, I was like, "Right, Dean's just like, he's like one of the man them, like, and that's me in a position where like I'm not in the corporate world,
right.
So I could imagine, like you're saying, getting that meeting because of the cool factor. How important? I wouldn't say how important is it, but is it like almost like a currency that's worth weight in itself? It's weight in gold, if you know what I mean.
I would have to admit that I'm cool to say that. But no, I think it does help. And at this level, like, a lot of business does get done with a high element of social interactions, right? We know what the company does. We know what it's worth. Do we want to pay for it or not? Can we raise the money? Like, there's, of course, all of the deal elements. But you definitely engineer favour if you've got some kind of personal connection. I think in business in general, but definitely in my world. So if you've got levers to create that social connection, then you're at an advantage. If you've got a lever because you can get into a place that no one else can get into, if you've got access to people no one else can get in, or you're viewed as a cool person, like, these are all advantages. And definitely now it's a currency.
Because I always hear these rumours of like, when it comes to like deals are done at the table, at like having a meal and stuff like this, or getting a client and be like, we're going to go to an Arsenal game and we have a box, and the player might come and say hello, and like I've heard like a lot of these deals happen at not like places you wouldn't expect, but it's just like, yeah, man, like, he's invite me to, he knows, I don't know, Jamiroquai or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like,
when we did so we sold Fortero, where I'm still CEO, to Partners Group, which is a big private equity firm, Swiss private equity firm. And in the week the deal was supposed to get done, we had two people who were bidding on the company, right? Partners Group and someone else. And we were supposed to sign the deal on Thursday. And on Tuesday, the leader at Partners Group insisted that I fly to Switzerland, spend the day with him. He's like, I'm not doing this deal unless Dean comes here and I spend the day with him. And I want to go through this, I want to go through this, I want to go through this. And I'm not going to Switzerland because I need to stay here to get the deal done. So he insisted. So in the end, decided to go. Me and the CFO went, and we did all this prep. We prepped our business plan, our cash flow models. We had all of this data ready to go through it with the top guy. I think Partners Group is 146 billion euros assets under management. So it's huge, right? And this is the top guy we're going to meet. So we're ready. Everything's prepared. Every data point you could possibly imagine. So we get there, and he puts me and the CFO in separate cars. So I'm with him, and I get in the car with him. He's going, so I heard you used to be a footballer. How did that go? Heard your mum was disabled. What was that like for you? So he knows all of this stuff about me, first thing. And then I say to him, where are we going? He says, I've got an art gallery. Like, it's my own private art gallery. I'm going, oh man, I don't want to go to art gallery. Like, this guy's 60. I'm envisaging what this art gallery is going to look like. So we get there, and the art gallery is the size of a normal Tesco. So it's huge. This thing is huge. And it's the largest collection of Andy Warhol and Basquiat's, largest private collection on earth, right? It's his art gallery, and it's huge. And so when we get there and I realize that, I'm like, oh my God, these are the only two artists I know anything about because of Jay-Z.
Yeah.
The only reason I know about Warhol and Basquiat and have ever looked into them is because of Jay-Z. So I'm going, this couldn't have gone better. And we're walking around his art gallery and we're talking about the deal, and we're talking about what we're going to do and why he wants to buy the company and what he's going to do with me and how and what my shares are going to look like. We're having this amazing conversation about the deal, and every 15 feet he goes, oh, this is Warhol's picture of Madonna and Fab Five Freddy. I don't know who this Fab Five, and I'm going, oh, I know who that is, or this is Flavor Flav, but I'm not sure who. And I'm going, oh, Flavor Flav is from public. And we're able to have this conversation now about art somehow, because it's Warhol and Basquiat. He's talking to me about Warhol and Basquiat, and I'm telling him who these influential New York figures are.
And he owns the art.
And but we're connecting somehow on art, and we're connecting in social space. And then he goes, do you want to see some cars? And opposite the art gallery, underground, is his private collection of cars. And as we're going around looking at the cars, he's going, yeah, this is the last road car that Ayrton Senna ever drove. And this is, James Dean's Porsche that I bought from it. It's like this amazing... And we did the deal between the art gallery and the car studio. That's where the deal actually happened. The phone call in the video is just the confirmation that the deal had been signed by everybody. But the negotiating happened in the art gallery and in his car showroom. I was just walking around thinking, don't touch anything. just do not trip over and headbutt like 300 million of Porsche. Like, don't do that.
So, like, what does your end start to look like, Dean? Because now you're in a place where, you've come from being, semi-pro footballer to working in telesales, to working your way up to 250 million pound deals, 500 million, a billion, 2 billion. You've set up your foundation that gives back and helps the community, and you're also an active family man. Your children are 18 and 2 are 17, and you've got this amazing bond with your wife. So what does and I wouldn't say the end is but how do you start looking towards a time in your career work-wise where you're like, kind of might retire 50, 60, because you're saying that you love the work. The work is the thing that makes you wake up in the morning. Like many of us, do you know what I mean? Who has a job where you're like, I wake up, this is what I love doing. Like me being here today, I was excited to do it. I have the same routine. I go gym, I have my coffee, do my research and stuff. But like everyone, I guess you look at a point where you're like, oh, I could retire at that age. And I see the things that people at that age are doing, golf, collecting cars, paintings, whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? What do you start to envision your kind of end and a bit of your legacy to be,
I don't know, Mo. I don't know, man, because I don't know, because I'm very, very lucky. I'm so, so fortunate. Like, how this has gone is incredible to me. I cannot believe it. I've worked hard, but...
You're blessed though, man. I don't think you're lucky. I'm blessed. I would say you're someone that's blessed, but also your drive in turning nothing into something is not... I don't feel like you just stumbled into, Motorola doing telesales. It was somewhere you said, I'll do the hard graft because I know what I can get out of it. And to take the person's job who's smashing the phones, and then before you know it, you're like, I'm going to leave to the point where you want me. I just believe that that's someone that's you've got a drive and you're massively blessed to the point where, people almost kind of see you as an icon now in this business world,
That's nice of you to say. That's nice to hear it from you, of all people as well. But I don't know. I'm very blessed. We've done extremely well in life. We've done well financially. I could have retired financially a long time ago. But the thing that stops me is not just the drive to work. I still have moments where I can't believe this is my life. I still go into places. And that's my one thing with social media. Often I think, this is so amazing. I want everyone to see this. And then I have to remember, everybody's not going to realize that you mean you just want to, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's a little bit sad, but I still have a lot of those moments, and I have a tough time with the retirement thing. I don't think my life can continue at this intensity, but I have a tough time with it because I think you would have killed at 21 for these opportunities. You would have killed at 22 to have this choice. So how can you you know, like you might think, oh, I want a bit of a break. And then somebody says, do you want to do 10 nights at the Garden, Madison Square Garden? And we guarantee it's going to be sold out.
Yeah.
Do you think you could say no to that? You're doing it, aren't you?
I'm doing it.
You're right. You're doing it.
Vivi and me, I'll be like, let's just do 15, innit? We might as well.
do you know what I mean? Like, to think where you've come from and how you've built your career, and you've had so many amazing successes. If you had an opportunity for the next category above whatever that looks like, above where you've already, I find it hard just because of where I've come from to go, I don't know, man, like maybe enough's enough. I feel like a striker who has been scoring 30 goals a season in non-league, and I've got to 35 and someone's gone, oh, do you want to go to Arsenal now? You go, oh, look, I'm a bit old now and, you know, I'm not as quick as I used to. I think you just go, yeah, of course. So I don't know. I know the intensity can't continue just physically. I am a bit older. I don't think about legacy because I just love when people come up to me and say, I tried this because I learned about you, or I asked for equity because I heard you ask for it, or I applied for that job because I heard about it. That's enough for me. Like the fact that one or two people may have had a bit more courage or a bit more gusto to do something, that's enough. And at some point I'll figure out the rest.
Oh, Dean, man, it's been a pleasure to have you on the pod, man. And I know we've gone over a little bit, but again, I really appreciate you just coming here, because I know, like, again, this is, you know, you work 9 to 5. This is within your working time. There could be a deal happening right now on this phone. But no, I think you're a huge inspiration, I think, to myself, but also to our community in a sense of, you know, like we know the people that are some of the front-facing people of entertainment, or sometimes tech or technology. Like, we know those people in our community, but also we don't know the people behind the scenes sometimes. And I think, you know, it always struck me that time we met in LA, and it was a big deal to take this public. And I sat there, and that was the thing that I left with when I met you. And I was just like, rah, like, to think someone had to think of that, where most of the time, like, we like the limelight. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a reason why I went to Stone Island to get every colour of the tracksuit, because I need you to see me in the peach and tomorrow in the mint. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I know I like that limelight. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. But I also know that what can come with the limelight is there is a shadow, and there is someone who wants to dim that light. Do you know what I mean? So it's the balance it faces. But, you know, just seeing, like, the moves that you make, and how, you know, like, you're in a position now where there's young boys and girls out there that are like, oh wow, like, I don't know much about business, but I've learned that I can ask, like you said, that's equity. That's something that there's going to be kids in school, and they're like, oh right, like, I heard, Dean, you can get equity. And they might try it at a low level where they're just like, cool, start up a company, I own this much, you own that much, we're selling donuts, and this is our little thing. Do you know what I mean? But that's good enough, man. If that's what happens, it's so vital that you are not gatekeeping those secrets, because I feel like those are the things that make people say, I can do this. Do you know what I mean? So honestly, it's such a pleasure to have you on the pod. Thank you for having me, man. And this has been your beginning, middle, and end. Thank you very much, bro. Appreciate you, man. Thank you, bro. Hey, what's up? Thank you so much for listening to the podcast today. Now, a lot goes into making each episode. I know you hear my voice, but there's a team behind the scenes who help make it. And if you did enjoy it, I'd really, really appreciate it if you could show the love to them by giving us 5 stars. And if you also have the time, please leave us a review. It's always appreciated, and we love reading the comments. And of course, we want to keep making it better. Thank you for listening, and have a great day. Peace.